Good morning. Welcome to another brief but hopefully thorough overview of our program of conscious living. That this would be the practices and principles that support us as we birth a new earth. This is what's happening today in our world, that we are birthing a new way of living in the world, a new consciousness. And we're receiving the strong support of the conscious dying element of conscious living. The two go hand in hand, living and dying, that we must die to the old forms to make space for the new forms. It's like gardening, farming, whatever. You have to care for the soil and you have to complete the previous cycle, harvest what is useful from the old, and then clear the land and prepare it for the new birth, the new season. So it's very important as we begin our journey here in early 2021 that we recognize the necessity of this cleansing process. Again, wanting to, with acceptance and appreciation, understand the value of the lessons that are being learned around the world, and recognizing again the necessity for the new. Necessity is the mother of invention, and so as we see certain clear obstacles being presented, we accept that the solution to these obstacles are being given at the very same time. Always, this is the practice, and I relate often to the Taoist principles, very nature-based, and we can learn from the cycles in nature how everything works. Okay, so one of the things that I want to address today is this clear lesson that I learned in my 25-year devotion to A Course in Miracles, that would say my happiness and my function are one. Knowing and understanding and participating in the expression of my function is the only true source of happiness, of sort of unconditional happiness and peace of mind. That it's a daily practice that I've embraced, this idea that my expression of my highest creativity each and every day is the guarantee of my peace of mind and my personal happiness. That it's as simple as that. And Eckhart Tolle did so much in his book that was published in 1999 to make that understanding of this energetic function that much more clear when he talked very, very succinctly in The Power of Now, describing God as the unmanifested and our function serving as the energetic conduit through which the unmanifested might manifest in the space-time world. So for me, that was it in a nutshell. I remember in 2002, when at the time he gave his last retreat before going into a very short-lived retirement, because he was drawn out of retirement in 2008 by Oprah Winfrey. But he was very clear that he wasn't, at the time, was not his personal destiny or function to continue being a teacher. He felt that in the years leading up to this retreat in Costa Rica in 2002, that he had given the gift that he had expressed what he was here to express, and was ready to let go. Well, little did he know there was more coming. And it was really great to see, and a big part of my work in teaching about this evolution that began in the middle 1960s and carried on until the early years of the new century, 21st century, that it was so important that these very simple principles and practices were laid out for me and for others like me that had ears to hear. So it was very important, this era, right? So, and for me, a significant marker, I mentioned 2002, Eckhart's last retreat in Costa Rica called Freedom from the World. But this was precipitated in late 2001 by the event now called 9/11, which was for me a very powerful and important marker, because I knew as I watched the second plane fly into the World Trade Center that was it. That was the end of my ability to live happily, comfortably, in harmony with a culture that would be evidenced by this event in 9/11. And it's very valuable now to see how some of the same conscious dying, the need for conscious dying that for me was very clear in September 11th, 2001, continues today with events now much more global that are precipitating our new earth. Okay, that at a global level, we are seeing the need for a radical shift, a radical change, birthing this new earth, that it's growing that much more obvious that there is this agenda, this need. So, like I say, all things are lessons. All things are, there's a core principle that would say that the universe is always supporting our highest good, our highest evolutionary good. So just like for me, there were certain events that triggered my move forward in my way that I would follow to eventually establish my version of this new earth utopia here in Ecuador, that it was, for me, it necessitated leaving the United States of America. And for others, their call is to fight the good fights, staying in the culture where we find in North America the greatest conflict going on. Everything is coming to a head in North America, in the United States of America in particular. So it's very good that we see that, we watch it, we're able to embrace that conflict as part of this, again, this polarity, this duality that is calling for unity. Okay, and unity won't happen at the political level or the economic level, but it will happen at the spiritual level. And this is our evolution now, is moving from the tribal mind, which is very much just focused on survival, the egoic mind, which is focused on right and wrong, and then the spiritual mind, which is focused on this notion, evidenced in a beautiful little Rumi poem that says, beyond the place of right and wrong, there's a field I will meet you there. That's our goal is in establishing our new earth, that this new earth becomes the field of peace and beauty beyond the machinations of right and wrong. So, but again, it's really important for me to share that the fundamental principle for me in conscious living is this notion about our function, that we have a singular function. And this is really what will unify all peoples of all cultures, all persuasions around the globe, is recognizing this singularity, the one thing that is being called for in our new earth, which is this recognition of our energetic function as a conduit through which the unmanifested, the timeless realm, heaven, might fully express itself on earth. So literally, we are called to manifest heaven on earth. And so, what are the characteristics of this heaven? And again, using Eckhart Tolle's language, you would say, well, it's our ability to bring acceptance, appreciation, and enthusiasm to everything. So again, this is talking about consciousness, not talking about the way things look. The way things look will simply be the manifestation of the consciousness. Okay, so for me, the way things look are my intentional community here outside of in the mountains of Ecuador, similarly, there will be OASIS like this that will blossom all around the globe, and that we would be learning to live in community is one of the key ways in that this will manifest is in our desire to live in community versus living alone. So maybe I'll read from my book here, the OASIS, the 10. I just arbitrarily came up with 10 symptoms. Okay, so it said symptoms that will grow within the liminal cells of this new earth consciousness. They include: 1, a deep desire to express one's highest creativity. 2, a strong preference to live in community with others. 3, a certainty about the evolution of consciousness. 4, a willingness to endure conflict, criticism, and ultimately censure from the representations of tribal and egoic consciousness in one's life. 5, a shift into global thinking. That which is right for one must be possible for all. An awareness of one's energetic reality, fully human and fully divine. 7, an experience of internal balance with the polarity of masculine and feminine. 8, a vitality in one's physical body, typically manifesting as peak health. 9, a true sense of abundance, manifesting as the desire to live in simplicity. 10, an unusual experience of space-time, living with an awareness of presence as a portal into eternity, one's immortal reality or soul awareness of life. So that's a pretty good overview. I think I'll write that up and have that have that posted for review. But yeah, one of the key things that I would mention there, which I feel strongly about, is this understanding that our energy body, which is the mechanism of our function in a new earth, that are shifting our focus from being a body, tribal mind, to being a person, egoic mind, to being an energy body, the spiritual mind, that if we focus our attention on this energy body and basically the care and feeding of the energy body, that the energy body then informs the mind, informs the body. So, for example, our immune system is built out of this energy body. Energy body basically creates the immune system, which cares for the body. If our energy body is powerful, is clear, strong, our immune system will be equally clear, powerful, strong. And we'll find a whole different way of relating as a body. There'll be an ease with the body that is uncommon for those living in the egoic or tribal consciousness. Okay, to essentially to live in harmony with the energy body is to live without fear or concern for the physical body. The physical body is taken care of. And I think in the relatively near future, I'm going to post a series of videos that will be autobiographical. And, people can go there if they want to see the stories that would inform those about this evolutionary path as an individual. And again, the possibility of fully flowering at the level of the energy body, I described in my last post about my identification, my naming the energy body as Sun King. And, a way in which in our evolution, we shift from the child being very tribal to the young and middle-aged adult being very egoic. And ideally, if we continue our evolution, arriving in our older age to Saroidad, as they call it here, the third life, that's dominated by the spiritual consciousness. So it makes good sense. It makes good sense, as I father my 5-year-old daughter, to watch her in her development and give her my fatherly blessing about that young tribal, which is at some level is very beautiful to see her at this stage where, her love for mommy and daddy is so extreme. It's so beautiful to watch because there's something in it that's very solid, very foundational, very comforting for her, that she feels safe in this world. And then, watching how she develops, I hope to be around long enough in her development to give her the best possible coaching and guidance that I can, that she might fully flower, perhaps even at an earlier age than I did, because she won't have as much interference pattern conditioning to overcome. So key for me, again, is this idea of simplicity, that one of the key principles of a new earth is simplicity, which comes out of our awareness of abundance. And I spoke to that, I think, a bit in a previous post about this awareness of abundance, that the spiritual quality it would say that truth and beauty and love and all these spiritual principles are infinitely abundant. And if we're focused on that, and our daily practice embraces the beauty and tranquility, harmony, love all around us, that this then supports our decisions to live simply, because we have everything. Everything that is truly important is available to everyone with infinite abundance. There's none of these principles cost any money. None of them actually even require any time, because they arise out of the timeless realm. So, again, I've spoken to that already quite a bit, even that, the abundance of time, which is really amazing to comprehend, because for many, many people, everyone in the egoic and tribal consciousness, they don't have a friendly relationship with time. So again, there's so much richness that arises in our lives as a result of this, that allows us to enjoy a daily practice that is anchored in simplicity. Again, the acronym for OASIS is oneness arising from stillness, inspiring simplicity, that we will find ourselves, if we continue on our journey, we will find ourselves in this utopia, this heaven-like state that is utterly simple, where literally every day, this is something that's really important to grasp, that in paradise, in utopia, in heaven, every day is exactly the same. There's no differences. There's no one day is this, another day is that, because our lives are no longer focused on conditions or activities or whatever. Our lives are focused on the eternal, essential nature of life, which is all around us all the time. So it really does not matter what we are doing, what the body is doing, or what the mind is doing, because our consciousness is focused on this other realm, which is always doing exactly the same thing. Remember, our function is to simply be manifesting our highest levels of creativity, of gratitude, of enthusiasm. And this is what we can be doing every day. This is the essence of life itself. It's no longer conditional. It's unconditional, without condition, without limitation, without it's remarkable. So there's a great line from A Course in Miracles that says, let's make this year different by making everything the same. It's a great mantra to make everything the same. How can your consciousness make everything the same? Well, it's very clear. It's very clear to me, because that's the reality that I live in, that everything, every day, every moment, every relationship, every opportunity, which of course everything is opportunity, everything, the world exists for giving to. So it's like day by day, moment by moment, we walk in this world seeing opportunity everywhere, seeing opportunity to give, to express. And as we're expressing, the consistent display is this is the mantra, this is the harmony, the peace. It's like, wow, there's just one thing going on all the time. One thing. So focus on that today. Enjoy the beautiful day ahead as the birds are tweeting and the sun will be rising here shortly. It's time to once again step into paradise and enjoy. To be in joy. Blessings to you.